All right,
Gentlemen, it's good to
let's do
see
it.
everybody again.
Yeah, awesome.
My friend Mike, the man with the knowledge, and
JJ's got the knowledge now,
I can't say except for today
except
when our good friend JJ Firenza is joining us again. And uh, if you haven't heard the first couple of episodes yet, we're discussing preparation and or dealing with and or the mental aspects of things that you never expected, the unexpected. And sometimes it's hard to, there is not, uh, I like to read. I'm a reader. There's not a lot of books that that can't write a book to be your exact situation. So until you live it, until you've been there, some of it is just supposition. But we're asking, and we sure appreciate JJ taking the time to talk to us about things that probably aren't that much fun to talk about. But um, I think it's great for all of us to consider as we do what we do and want to make sure that we're there for our kids in every capacity. So, Mike, why don't you walk us back into the conversation?
yeah,
And
we have Mr. Joseph JJ Firenza here. I know him as JJ. He's a band director at Cross Plains, a town pretty close to Abilene, and I've known him for years. But we've gone through in the previous two episodes kind of the logistics of getting set up, what things we need to have with us, how we deal with administration, training to prepare for said events because we don't know when it's going to happen, obviously. And today's episode, kind of walk you back into it, is going to be the episode has happened, whether it was a lockdown, whether it was a bus wreck, whether it was a student committed suicide, all horrific things that can happen in a school situation. But he's going to talk us through the aftermath of it, or the school district response, and etc.
one of the things I would say to that too is the human brain tries to categorize and or prioritize and or rank. Tragedy is tragedy.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say any one tragedy is it affects any tragedy that affects anyone is as bad as any other tragedy that affects anybody else.
Oh,
So uh, what I'm trying to say is don't look at this as a specific example of a specific time. The overview is here's how we deal with these things, and here's how JJ specifically
yeah.
dealt with some of that. So
The tragedy that happens to you is the tragedy. It's kind of like
right.
I dealt with doctors and they say this is a minor surgery. It's not minor if they're cutting on me. It's minor if they're cutting on JJ.
Right.
Yeah, they'll say it's a minor surgery. So tragedy is tragedy. Yeah.
So
So kind of want to start the aftermath part of it on the first I want to say it was like probably the next day first and the next week kind of deal. The school district's response was crisis counseling literally the next day. Um, I can say this for me, I did not go to that because I was stuck in this kind of strange loop of, you know, the day, the day's events. And literally it started like 8 a.m. Like went all the way until I fell asleep driving home in my parents' vehicle back to Andrews from Big Spring
Okay.
over and over again. So in that kind of situation, what's happening there, your brain's processing what it just went through.
Okay.
That wasn't the only one that went through that. However, I will say this, you need to get that out quickly or as quick as you're comfortable because once it lingers, it doesn't go away per se. It will go it will stop, but it won't go away the way it is. So that was a really good thing the school district started right off the bat was I think they got the Region Center and I think they got the counselors from Lubbock and like it was a whole thing.
So everyone had people to talk to.
Yeah. And also at that time, they also brought in different levels of types of therapy as well. The big hit was the therapy dog thing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
That changed the whole aspect in Andrews
Yeah.
because they still use therapy dogs in all the campuses now. But go ahead, this is so cool because I'm a dog person.
Yeah. So one of the things they noticed was they brought in, I can't remember what the organization's called, unfortunately, but It's basically they're all volunteer dog therapy people that are trained to help with these kind of crises, and these dogs go through a different type of training. They have to go through like an anger test, like in a stress test. Can they like deal
Okay.
with being petted on? Can they deal with pretty some individuals when they get triggered, can the dog handle that kind of stress?
Being hugged too hard,
Yeah.
just emotional stress around them. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
in some cases more violent.
Yeah,
You just
okay.
never know. Um, but they're all trained to go through that, and that was a really big hit for the kids, especially because kids love animals. Like today, this random house cat was on the school campus, was following me around, and one of my students was like, "It's a cat," and she like picked it up immediately. I was like, "Girl, you don't even know whose cat that is." Number one. Number two, it was like you get ringworms or something. She's like, "But it's a cat." I'm like, "Okay." So and actually, I had a student. I actually asked him this. The student was pretty quiet overall, and I asked why. He opened up after that. And he says because it's easier to talk to a dog than a human being. And I was like, "Oh, well, there you
Good
go."
point.
So the kids really like that, and actually, the school district kept it because they noticed there was an uptick in like mental health, there was an uptick in grades, there was an uptick in
Wow.
class discipline. So they just decided, you know, what if we paid for it and did all this? What does it take? And all the counselors, for some reason, all had poodles that at that time, and they all passed, and it was like fate or something. And at one time,
I love it.
every campus had at least one therapy dog, so and which was really cool. Um, so they got through that, and I actually would suggest school districts doing something like that
Yeah.
to get it through. And I know there's other, not only just therapy dogs, there's also horses, there's all kinds of stuff out there. You just do with what you can work with, I guess.
That was really cool.
And one of the things, another thing that they responded on was mitigating triggers, which that was a big deal. Especially for me too. I can say that like they cleaned the band hall, like never before seen, like pristine level of clean at that point. Because you just never know what will trigger
Okay.
those kids. It could be a smell, which one of my triggers for a while was a strange smell, and it would throw me back for a little bit too.
Okay.
Or or seeing that desk after it all went down. That was hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we had kids where they would go through. You remember that band hall and
Yeah.
had two entrances. They would always come in from the outside. They didn't want to go from the inside. They would always leave and come in through the outside. And we had to do that because one, um, we didn't want them to get triggered, and two, like I get it. Like, and I continued to use that office as mine as well because we shared it. Uh, that was hard. So I don't want a kid to go through that. That was kind of my logic on that. Um, you know, when we returned to school, we never actually walked into the band hall the first week. We actually went into the theater room at that time.
Okay.
Which it just needed to be done because going in cold into the band hall is going to be really hard. And they needed to figure out what kids were able to go back in and who couldn't go back in right off the bat. And that was the best solution at that time. It worked out. It worked out fine, and they kind of used that as their safe place in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Was it hard to get kids to be honest about what they could do and couldn't do, or did it seem like they were pretty open about, no, I can't do this, Mr. Firenza?
yeah, they were pretty open about it.
Okay.
And some kids were trying to push themselves too hard. I actually remember getting pretty upset with a certain teacher at that time. They were like, "You need to turn in your work." Okay, hold on. So there was a moment where this is where the ungluing started happening. Looking back, and it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, because a deal in this particular episode, and you were very open about it, is kind of how kids deal with it, but also how directors and staff, and kind of your personal journey. So please feel free to share as much as you feel comfortable sharing in that regard.
Um, And a lot of that was, they took the time into doing that. I think that lasted for about, I want to say 3 days.
Okay.
So kids were, man, actually honestly, by the end of the second day, a lot of kids were okay with just going to classes because their friends that didn't go through it, like at all, or in band, stop asking. Like that was a big problem too. Was like they kept asking, like, "Oh, tell us all the details." It's like, bro, you don't get to ask those questions anymore.
Yeah.
And it took those kids to realize, because they're kids, and it took them a while to realize, oh, this ain't the time nor the place. They need to, like, it need to be normal.
Yeah.
And by the third day, it was pretty normal. Kids, we came in for first period for band, and we still did the little theater, and then they would go to class. Sometimes they would come in, uh, to hang out, just to, uh, vibe for a minute, and then there were a couple kids, that said, "Yeah, I didn't wanna deal with this class," and I look at them, it's like, "Who is it?" And they were like, that, "No, don't play this game." They know. But, for me, I understood. I'm gonna push them as,
Yeah.
um
Was it really rough when they, because I wasn't there when this happened, as far as there had to be a time when they brought back gym bags and
so
instruments from the site?
kinda.
Okay.
So
So if you
one
feel comfortable, can you step us through that? Because that's gotta be something you've gotta deal
Mhm.
with as a staff member.
So one of the things was they had to bring the buses back to the bus barn. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, these weren't charters that were rented, these were
the school districts.
Andrews ISD buses, yeah.
And insurance had to go through and do all that stuff. And if you've ever dealt with insurance, that took forever.
Yeah.
Even with this kind of cataclysmic thing, I think they had to wait like another 2 weeks before they actually came out or something.
Yeah.
But they took the time to, like, the bus barn employees went through a bus and pulled through everything because there were still instruments, under there. There was personal things. There was, just
Yeah.
the stuff, right?
All the stuff we
Um,
travel with as
and
fans.
they used their garage and they just laid it all out, and people came in, to pick up their stuff and they
Oh,
take it out.
okay. So they didn't bring it to the band hall.
Correct.
That was very smart,
Mhm.
very smart.
And it was part of that mitigation of
Yeah.
triggering. However, the instruments, it was very strange. There was just strange dust on everything. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's in Andrews in the Midland, Odessa area. If you've never been there, don't. It's pretty barren. I'm gonna be honest. No trees. But you have red dirt everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of red dirt.
That wasn't the type of dust that was on these things, and it was like this straight, and it was like fiberglass powder or something. It
Huh.
was very odd, but it was everywhere. And that was just kind of like everyone thought that was super weird. Like, and I still think it's weird. It was all over the place, but it got into everything, including clothes and stuff. Like they had jackets and stuff like that, and kids kind of threw it away after a while too, because for whatever reason, that dust just made it very uncomfortable.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
And then there were things the bus barn threw away because there's a lot there, there's blood on it. There's stuff all over it. And they were like, I think it's just better if we throw this away and pretend it didn't come back from the wreck. And no one questioned it. And there were a couple things that they sent back to the band hall that they were like, we weren't sure if you wanted us to throw these away or not. And I think a couple of times, um, we kind of just pulled the trigger in chapter 13, that stuff. And, you know, you know, all of it's replaceable,
Yeah.
but all of it can trigger.
Yeah.
And the kid will probably never wear it again. And, and a lot of kids usually did,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Um, so the school district, I thought when it all went down, they responded well. They kind of just threw things at the wall, and whatever stuck. But they went for it. Whatever they could do, they did it. The therapy dog thing was the big one. I think it's called EMDR, eye movement, uh, desensitization and reprocessing therapy. If I said that wrong, I did my best. Anyway, hey, there's Mike. And there's Mike.
Oh,
Anyway, so check.
Mike.
Mike, you good, Mike?
I'm good. I'm good. Mic check is done.
So
Bad.
yeah,
Sorry, guys.
the EMDR stuff was a couple of kids took that. There were some successes there, and you know, one of the big things, and this was hard for everyone to process. Let your school district take on the financial burden of that, because what ended up happening, you know, they dealt with the insurance. I did not deal with the insurance.
Okay. I was going to ask you that.
The only time I dealt with them was with the school district said they need this. Can you help? Donations. I didn't touch money.
Yeah.
And none of the band directors touched money. None of the kids touched money. What ended up kind of happening, this sounds sketchy, but just roll with it for a minute. They had to go through our mail, people saying condolences and all these letters and stuff like that. But they were looking for checks, cash, anything like that, because they didn't want us to be liable for any money that goes missing or anything like that.
Okay.
So, because when that happens, and this is where we started learning, when you donate, and this is something that you can actually hold on to for like normal band stuff or normal anything, that check has to specifically say your booster's name. So, for instance, if it is the Ask Mike Lunny Band Boosters, they need to put down the Ask Mike Lunny Band Boosters on that check. They can't put Intune, because if they put Intune, that's Intune. It has to go to Intune, and it could go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you put all the very specific things, that money is just for that booster club. So they hold on to that money and put it in its own little bank account, basically. So that money was, a lot of that money was used to help with therapy and help with the pricing of that, because that stuff's expensive, no matter what. But they took the time into doing that and really worked on making sure this was keep it away. I remember right off the bat, a lot of parents were not happy about that, but I took the side of the school district on that, because I just knew I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Well, plus you didn't have much choice.
Yeah.
The school says we're doing it this way.
Yeah. And when you kind of process it the way we explained it to them, they were like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." And it's like they're making sure that this doesn't get worse or whatever way. So just in case, if you ever get donations, make sure you have something written that says it's for if it's for general stuff, like for your band boosters, you just put the name. If it's for specifically an instrument, they need to put that somewhere on the check. It's a lot of weird stuff. That's stuff I didn't know until we went through that.
Yeah.
So let your school district take on those kind of burdens, because you don't want it.
Yeah. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
Let them deal with the financial part of it.
Mm-hmm. So the band director's responses and responsibilities that we kind of went into, first thing we had to go into is inventory. What was salvageable? A lot more instruments than you would think. And some, I'm not sure, Derek, I don't know how Intune did it, but man, good on y'all. Because there was a couple, it was like, there's no way they fix this. Oh, we got this. So there was things salvageable. There were things that were destroyed. This is a strange shout out to Con Sommer. There was a case, it was brought in, they survived the wreck, and it was like crushed. And it's that, you ever see those like gray, black cases? They're kind of shiny looking.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? We were thinking, oh, this trumpet's obliterated. We open it, and the trumpet has the strange, weird dust all over it, but pristine. It was just like, you know what? Respect. So there was a lot. We had to go through all of it, and kind of had to play test some of it. We just, after a while, we were just like, all right, we're just sending this to get flushed, because that dust was all over the place. I'm serious, man. I don't know what that dust was, but you breathe it in and just, oh man, oh, like breathing on cement. Have you ever done that?
Not on purpose.
Yeah. Well, neither have I.
I've worked cement before. I know that dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's
It
weird.
might have been, I don't know, maybe some of that fire retardant stuff that they were spraying, or maybe fiberglass from the buses. It's but yeah, I can only imagine that it got everywhere and just worked its way into every crack and crevice.
You know, and the other part was finding out our instrument needs. So getting a quote, repair quotes and replacement quotes from Intune in particular, they helped out with that a lot. And but we were basically school districts like, we have to get back to some semblance of normalcy. So you have to figure out instrument stuff. And this is after COVID, and getting anything from anywhere was painful to say the least.
Supply chain was a real thing.
So we reached out to one of our neighbor school districts in Seminole ISD, and they helped us out tremendously. They had a very large inventory that they were able to use for us. And while these instruments came back / being replaced, we could trickle in and get it all done.
Okay.
And that was a really cool thing. And another thing was student needs. Finding out which students in particular needed extra attention to that, to counseling and stuff like that, because there were kids that fought it pretty hard. They were like, "No, I'm fine. No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
No, you're not." And looking back, one of the first names should have been me, because I was not fine. Didn't notice. And also needing to replace personal instruments.
Yeah, I was going to say the weirdest part of that, JJ, was it's not weird, but the thing that I don't think many people considered is not only was the district instruments involved, but all those kids that had rented instruments and had their own personal instruments involved in that. We just kind of adopted the attitude of, let's just get it taken care of. From the standpoint of, was it ours? Was it the school's? There's no time to worry about that right now. Let's get everybody an instrument and let's keep going. So,
and again, you and Tim really helped us through a lot of that process, and I don't think we can ever appreciate y'all enough for that, because at that point, I think we were just trying to, it was survival mode at that point, trying to push down what we were going through. A lot of that was grief, and pushing down grief is like the worst thing you could do in real life. This is a real life talk, because the stages of grief, it's not linear like how the movies talk about it. It's actually like, you're going to take 2 steps forward. Now you're going to take 1 step back. But today you took 2 steps forward and you're good. Tomorrow you're going to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
Okay.
So, and that's just the process of grief, and it affects people differently. Like it took me 4 years to finally get to the acceptance point of it. It's a long time. But going back to the student needs though, you would be shocked about how those kids would react when they saw their instrument back in the locker. It was like they found a long lost friend.
I love it.
Yeah. So community responses, again, going back to Seminole ISD, Adam Bodine and Lindsay Dean, who were the directors at their Seminole High School, really helped us out with that. They came up literally one night. We were going through what we were going through, and we unloaded and got all these instruments checked out, and it was kind of nice talking to band directors that we were just talking about band versus like they did the stuff they would ask that was about the wreck was like stuff that is like, okay, so what else do you need? Did you lose anything else? So shout out to them. They're great people. I always call Adam. I always give Adam a hard time. He doesn't look as old as he is. Apparently,
but he's the Dick Clark of band directors,
right? I don't know. Jesus might be a good second on that one, actually. So with sorry, weird, funny story. When I was in high school, we made it to state marching at the same time Seminole High School made it to state
Okay.
marching.
These two schools are 30 miles apart.
Yeah, and we love each other so much.
Yeah.
Could say great bondage.
I'll tell you a story after the part. Anyway, but one of the things they did a show, I think it was about the rise and fall of the Soviet Union or whatever, and they came to Andrews. Sorry, they came to Andrews, and people did not appreciate that show at all, and proceeded to call them communists. And I put two and two together, and I finally realized who Adam Bodine was. He was the assistant director at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, y'all did the communist show? And he just went on this tirade about how it wasn't a communist show. Sorry, it's just so funny. And so every time I see Adam, I was like, here he is, the communist.
I'm going to mention that in next.
Comrade Adam.
I'm Odd. How are you?
I'm an odd. Remington warm up comment.
Sorry. That was just the fun times. And then Big Spring ISD, housing the students after the wreck, and they also did medical checkups with their athletic trainers. A lot of them caught things that they were like, you need to go because there might be something worse going on, even though, and a lot of them were like, my kids on my bus on bus too. And this is where we learned that sitting right and really and truly, it doesn't take much for you to get concussion.
Okay.
It can happen quick. And they caught a couple of those kids that
Interesting.
they were like, I don't remember hitting my head. Well, do you remember what you did this morning? Where are we? Like that was a conversation, and so it's like, it could be they're in shock, and then the other was a really bad concussion, which a couple of them did have.
Wow.
Yeah. And another shout out for Big Spring and Sweetwater ISD. They performed at that football game after it was.
I do remember that because y'all had another playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they performed at that one, and they did a great job with that, and and they also did a little honoring for them for halftime. I didn't realize so many kids had gone until like well after the fact. A lot of people just kind of left me alone at that point because I needed it. But we were told we didn't have to go unless we wanted to. To a lot of kids, they went, but on their own power and left in their own power. Versus if we went on a band trip, it'd be a little different. But
yeah,
I'd let a kid leave, but it's different. And the donations to the band boosters, and the school districts, support overall. Again, don't touch the money that comes in. And if it gets past you get a check, just take it to the school, the people that need it, that are handling it, because you just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
One thing you should do, and I don't know why I did this, I just started doing it, was saving the return addresses of everything that was sent to us, like as condolences and support and stuff like that. We ended up sending thank you notes to all those people, for helping support us and help us through this tough time and all of that kind of stuff. So if nothing else, that thank you was something, in our mind.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
I think
There was and man, it's bad for why it happened. It was cool for what we saw, if that made sense.
It does make sense.
All the way north was all the way up to basically Massachusetts, as far west as California, and as south as to the literal border towns.
Yeah.
And there were so many schools that sent something, and so many people sending things, and just what they can do. And not only that, for us, but also the drivers that went through that as well. One thing, I don't know, I feel like I need to say this: the person that was driving the vehicle that hit the bus, a lot of people had a lot of stereotypes. Really and truly, I finally found out who this guy was. He was a good person.
Yeah.
It was just a bad day.
And I've got to admit, I had in my mind, it was a certain type of person who was probably intoxicated
Yeah.
because it was a Friday. And then come to find out, it had nothing to do with any of that. It was just a wonderful family man who made a mistake.
And unfortunately, what happened. But, you know, you also have to look at it this way. 3 families lost a father.
Yeah.
3 families, you know, lost a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Being kind in that situation pays off more than what people think.
Yeah.
And so really trying to make sure that we had that kind of saying thank you was something at least.
No, that's not just something. That's a big thing on both sides to acknowledge what they've done, but also to show love from your end,
Yeah.
from your community.
And you know, band, that kind of goes into the band world's response. You know, a massive amount of cards, banners, etc. Man, I hung up so much stuff. Like I made my own banners and everything, you know, with poster cards and stuff, and they were all over the band hall. I think you remember going through that.
Yeah.
And there's probably pictures out there somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
All over, and some people had created these vinyl banners and stuff like that. It was really cool, and you know, they were just trying to say thank you, and you know, and also the band world, we have the gift of making music, as you put it earlier in the other episode, of emotions, right?
Yeah.
One of the things Region 6 commissioned a piece in memory for Darren and Mark. It was called Take Heart by Jordan Tucker. That was published in 22.
Okay.
And ATSSB also published or pushed for The Essence of Memories, which by Brooks, which they premiered at the ATSSB All-State Concert. And we also got one more, Beyond These Horizons by William Owens, which that was published in 24. So, you know, those were also a lot of great things that happened with that. You know, it's kind of strange how those all just happened, but it just happened, which I'm kind of I'm glad for all 3, but for some reason the Willie Owens one is my favorite.
Yeah,
because I think because they were actually friends too. I think that kind of went there too. Also Phi Beta Mu inducted him, which I believe you helped in that.
Yeah, I was a sponsoring member in that. The interesting story about that is that we'd already started the paperwork prior to the accident. And so it was already kind of in motion, and it was pulled out of motion because we weren't sure what to do and all that. We weren't sure what to do, you know, kind of thing. But that was really a great moment to be able to go to the concert with Doyce as the other sponsoring member and to go through that. But you've got to tell us about this Christmas parade that was on national news.
So this is where we actually were not going to do the Christmas parade.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense. You know, the kids are traumatized, the equipment's damaged.
And, we were really thinking about tapping out, and we hadn't made the call quite yet. The school district said, whatever y'all want to do, it's your call. Now I remember, I think someone was talking, and Chris Wheeler from Tarpley Music found out, and basically he bulldozed this idea of let's have other bands just go for it and do it for them, if nothing else. And it turned into, we were thinking it would be like, you know, 1 or 2 bands. This ended up being about, including our kids, 1,200 kids. So 1,200 kids.
If you've never heard Jingle Bell Rock played by 1,200 kids at one time, you're just missing out on a great joy of life.
And the drum cadence they were playing too, it sounded like something powerful was coming, and then all of a sudden you hear Dick Blow, where I was like, it was just loud.
It was like Lord of the Rings versus Dr. Zeus or something.
It
was quite the moment. Yeah,
it was really crazy. But what people don't know is our kids, that, you know, they were done. They were not gonna do it, And,
Mhm.
you know, honestly, that would have probably, a lot of kids would have left the program because of this. However, because of that Christmas parade, I remember rehearsing the kids and doing just trying to rehearse, get something going on in Jingle Bell Rock. That was literally all the work on in
Oh, yeah,
class.
it's 1,200 kids.
Yeah. Well, and it was like going into class, like normal class.
Oh, so this was the first time the kids had picked
Yeah.
up their horns again.
Mm-hmm. And
I did not realize that.
yeah,
So that's all. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the kids, like, it was like 2 weeks before. I was like, so this is, anyone still want to go? And everyone's like, no. I was like, well, I will tell you this. Right now we have, I think it was like 300 kids doing it. And they were like, all right, that sounds cool. The next day, all right, guys,
We got 600.
we got about 600 now. And they were all like, okay, for instance, I'm okay. Well, you know what? I'll join that. I'll join that, you know. And then slowly it was like, you know, slowly but surely, you know, safety in numbers kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
and then eventually, you know,
Our fear of missing out.
yeah,
At that point, it's like, I want to be a part of this. There's never been a 1,200 person marching band at the Andrews Parade.
think when I hit like 876 or some weird number like that, all the kids went, "Yep, we're in, we're in, we're doing it." And then it just kept growing and growing. And I'll tell you what was really nice, the band boosters of those school districts took care of everything. They did not, they basically did not let our band boosters do anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Band boosters are great, aren't
yeah. And they just went straight into, we will take care of the meal. We will take care of the stuff. You don't need, you do
they?
nothing.
Just come watch.
Yeah. Go watch your kid have fun.
I love that.
And, you know, to this day, I've never seen so much pizza in my life. Like they initially ordered
Took every pizza out of Midland, Odessa, didn't they?
well, okay, so we have like, for some reason, Andrews has pizza places, Wingstop, and all this stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah. But you know, there were 2 pizza places at that time in particular. It was Domino's and Pizza Hut. And initially, I think they called Domino's, and Domino's was like, "Oh, we can't do this."
Yeah, we need 800 pizzas.
Yeah, it's like, and then they called the Pizza Hut. It's like, "Hey, you want in?" It's like, "We'll do half, you do the other half."
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So you all did it in town.
Man.
That is so cool.
But still, to this day, I've never seen that much pizza in my life. And the middle school band hall smelled like pizza for like, I swear, like 2 months after that.
Oh, that is so cool. That actually made like NBC national news and
Yeah.
and everything. That is so awesome.
And also, I hate to talk about it this way, but be really careful with the media during these times.
Okay.
Because I won't say which one did it, but I was waiting for my parents in the parking lot going into Big Spring, because, you know, parents, they live in Andrews too, so, you know,
Yeah.
they're coming, you know.
So you're talking at the
Yeah.
time of the event.
Mhm.
Okay.
Lady comes up to me and asks, you know, who I am. I said, I'm one of the directors. I don't really care. I'm trying to find my parents at this point, just to,
Yeah.
you know, because my mom's freaking out at this point. And they were like, well, could you do a quote?
Mm.
And I just stared at her and I was like, not at this time. And she started saying, you know, we send our condolences, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to say anything? No, not at this time. Don't talk to them.
Yeah.
They're going to use it. And it was a hard talk to have with our kids too.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't talk to them.
Yeah. And then, like, they're going to look for you. And the kids saw me get visibly angry about this, because it was pretty, one, talk about bad timing, right, in general.
Yeah.
But, you know, they don't look at it as a tragedy. They look at it as, I'm going to get the next big quote for the next big story.
First on the scene.
Yes.
Yeah. When I dealt with a much smaller event, the first call I had was from my superintendent.
Mhm.
Who said all media goes through him.
Yes.
He goes, you will not say a word to anybody about anything. He's like, yes, sir. And it was just a relief to have that taken off my shoulders, where, because they did, man, they sent emails, they showed up at my house, they, you know, et cetera. So I think that's great advice. If the one thing's learned from this whole 3 episodes, that's a great lesson in itself. Yeah.
yeah, don't trust the media on this kind of stuff, especially
No, and we're not trying to totally disrespect. They're trying to do their job.
yeah,
It's still, it's doesn't need to happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just, and that's something I just realized I have to put on here, but the media, but yeah, but still the coolest part about, just hearing Jingle Bell Rock played by 1,200 students, literally hearing it on the others that, like, we had that golf cart and
Yeah.
Yada and I were in it, and it's like, in like the front of the band, and you can't even see the back of the band. It's like this massive echo effect. It was
And
crazy, man.
how many sousaphones were there? Because that, to me, that was the most impressive thing, is when you saw the sousaphone block of about, I don't know, 150
Yeah,
sousaphones.
it's a lot. Yeah, it was a ridiculous number, and it was really cool. I'll tell you what, though, the trombones, man, there were some.
Yeah,
That
they
was,
were Jingle Bell Rockin'.
yeah, they were going for it, man. They were showing who the loudest was.
Yeah.
Only the strong survived this. That was the longest parade you ever been partner, because you can't. We didn't know, and no band director had ever done anything like that.
Nope.
So, like, we don't know what to do. So when y'all start playing, just stop. Like
Yeah.
this, and marching in step, impossible.
Yeah.
Was
It was a controlled chaos mob
but it was all,
meandering down the boulevard.
yeah, and it was a really cool, thing to help the kids get through that, because a lot of kids, and frankly, I think a lot of kids, if that thing did not happen, I don't think a lot of our kids would have stayed in band the following semester, if not.
Wire.
Yeah, because they had such a. Why would you stay in something that went through so badly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it didn't even out the score, but it changed the perspective, and it changed the environment a little bit.
Well,
For those
they felt the love.
Yeah,
Here, say band family is band family.
Band family, man. Band family. We deal with music and emotion, but man, those relationships in band, oh my gosh. I don't know how many times I see a post on Facebook of two of my old band kids getting married. And I'll always post on there, another wedding made possible by the Pure Gold Marching Band.
and they're just like, Mr. Money, we're not
Oh, I know that.
5 right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're like in their 30s now.
Mr. Money, I don't remember how to play the B flat major scale.
Yeah.
Stop asking.
Oh, a band family's a cool thing.
Yes, it is.
Now, to kind of go into bad, it's what's the aftermath of your story,
So,
JJ? What do you feel comfortable talking?
we'll talk about, well, meander through. So I continued to teach for another 2.5 years after that.
Okay.
The half year is the semester after the rec, so that's where
Right.
the half comes from. So 2 years after that, to put it bluntly, I did a lot of it wrong of handling it. Really and truly, my mental health hit a rock bottom, and it kept going as far as it could go.
Yeah.
Um,
And we could all sense it, but we didn't know what to do.
yeah, and
You know what I mean? All we could do is tell you we loved you, man.
yeah,
But we didn't know what to do. Yeah.
and kind of going through that, one of the books that I would really recommend for anyone that's gone through any kind of trauma, and it goes through what I was going through with self-sabotaging, which was like, I get to this comfortable state, and then all of a sudden I had to find some way to
mess up the life.
mess that up. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was The Mountain Is You, who is by Brianna West. Her book, it was kind of like, it felt like for a minute there, it's like, bro, that's not cool. It's like, I was like, I literally did this the other day. Wow. Okay.
Did they follow me around?
Yeah. Did she do a study or something with the drum? And going through that, one of the things was, later on, about halfway point in that book, it talks about, the thousands of versions of you. It's kind of like an Alan West quote as well. There are thousands of versions of us out there. There are some of the versions of you to other people are you're the villain, some are you're the hero, and then some you're just merely a passing thought. And this is how we think, kind of paraphrasing hardcore, because I don't have the book with me. But this is how we deal with our past selves. The past self that I was 5 years ago could not fathom the person that I am today. And that's just how it is. And which is also kind of a hard pill to swallow because you see how far it comes. And a lot of things we're taught to is to hate kind of ourselves in those times because you're just like, well, it's a terrible person and I hate myself for that. And it's like in that book though, this is what kind of helped me through with acceptance. Um she said instead of that, you need to be appreciative of your past self because that past self got you through what you went through.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And looking back,
It allowed you to survive.
yeah,
Yeah.
to move on. That version of JJ that after y'all met after the wreck was smart enough to realize this version cannot continue. It does not know. I didn't know what to do, but I had to do something. And I was a big like anti-therapy person, because boys don't cry kind of logic, right?
Yeah.
And that version of me realized, okay, nothing that I usually do to de-stress and to get through things, it's not working. And in some cases, it's making it way worse.
Yeah.
So I remember going into my very first therapy session, it's like 30 minutes of it is doing the health insurance stuff and figuring out paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And the other like 45 minutes is trying to get to know each other. One of the first things I said, was like, I'm not really sure if this is really for me. I'm just trying it because of what I've been through. And I got really lucky because I found a therapist that just got that and understood that. He's very down to earth, where a lot of what I was afraid of finding was the really, like, oh, there's like random bowl singing or something, right?
Lots of candles.
Yeah, right. He's very down to earth. He's very but that, I got really lucky finding him in that way. Also, he took my insurance, so that really
It's nice not to go broke.
Yeah, right.
There's that too.
Yeah.
But
I want to be financially healthy too, sir.
right, a joke. But we made that comment like recently, a couple of weeks ago, because I still do therapy weekly. There are things I just want to keep working through because this version of JJ also recognizes it's not ready for the future because it will get replaced.
Yeah, I'm on that train too. Not the same event, but it's like once you've received good therapy, you realize how much it does help you.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, don't be afraid to, especially you guys out there. Don't be afraid to go see a therapist. It's not necessarily what you think it is.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Just give it a try.
And some of it's even more different, like I think. So with doing the CPR class, one time a trainer told us that he just hated how movies and TV shows portrayed CPR. Is like, they're bending their elbows, they're like limp wristing and saying breathe, it's like that's not how you do it. And it's like if you actually want to help people, how about you do something more similar to CPR?
Yeah.
And I think that same statement can be said about therapy because, it's like snap out of it, like that's not what they do.
Yeah. On TV, therapists are a lot of times seen as like, sometimes like just like a kind of a psychotic person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're not seen as a mentally healthy person who does therapy. And that's kind of what we're fed through what we see, what we stream in our houses.
And it's another book. I'm currently finishing it up, but it's like Anger. I think I put it on here. Oh, yeah, it did. Anger, Wisdom of Cooling of the Flames is written by a Buddhist monk. One of the things is he's like, therapists are amazing because they have to be so like mentally present for themselves for their patients. Okay. So a lot of people, I think there's a lot of stereotypes with therapy that really just needs to go away. And a lot of it, I think, actually stems from short-term therapy, which is like BetterHelp and all those kind of companies that do that online stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like short term or life coaching type deals.
Or some kind of app you can download and it's going to solve your life, because you can now meditate or whatever.
Mhm.
Not saying those don't help,
Mhm.
but it's not therapy.
Yeah, and it's a piece of the puzzle of mental health is in what you need to find. And for me, meditation is important.
Yeah.
There's days where like I just all of a sudden everything's just kind of too loud. I realize I need to just meditate for a while and 30 minutes. And it's not like sitting there with incense or whatever. Sometimes it's as simple as just walking around the house dead silent and let your mind kind of go to what it's wondering. And
Okay. I like that.
and there's a lot of tools that I've had to pick up and try, and some work, some don't. And it's just like a therapist, you go through one bad therapist or one that you think is bad. That therapist was not right for you because they're a person too. I know, crazy thought, right? And it's like being like kids like move from school to school and they don't join band because they didn't like this one band director or whatever, but for some reason they love this one. It's like, you know, it's one of those deals, right? It's very similar,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But a lot of so I look back at that and think I'm glad I took that step because that version of me realized what I was turning into and what I have turned into at that point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like have a heart attack when I'm like 45, it's like you want to talk about a ball of stress, man. It was ridiculous. And the brain, oh man.
I think one of my most enjoyable moments is when I heard you were going back into teaching. Because in my heart, I knew that's where you needed to be, but we all had to wait for you to figure that out. No, we couldn't make you do it. So,
But I listen. I think that's awesome. But tell me what it was like making the decision to actually step away. Was that a relief thing for you? Was that I have to do this?
So
was escapism, running away?
kind of
Yeah.
So my mother was the one that made the statement of, I think you need to at least step away from this life for at least a year.
Okay.
Mother knows best. Sorry, guys. Remember that. Mother knows that. So, and she was right, but my hard head, as you know.
Yeah. I do know you well, JJ.
Especially at that time, not listening to advice was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things was for me, and finally, I man, this sounds crazy. We were driving back from, I think, All Region, and it was a good phone, giving the kids a hard time. We're all laughing, we're having a good time, and the kids were talking, and then all of a sudden, in the back of my mind, and it hit my consciousness like a brick. I'm done. And it was that, and it when you would think it'd be some horrible day where I was like yelling and screaming and stuff like that. No, it was actually one of the more funnier times.
Interesting.
Just,
Yeah.
I think my anxiety dropped enough where my mind was clear enough saying you need to step away.
Yeah, and your mom and you were correct because I think if you'd have just kept teaching, you'd have gotten more angry,
Yeah.
more angry, and more angry until you lost your teaching license.
Yeah. Yeah. No one, and who knows, right?
Yeah.
And that was part of the grief too, was
The grief is turning into anger.
yeah. And and also the grief of, realizing you cannot do the thing you love doing, which that was, and you have a lot of resentment towards people that had like basically pushed you to that limit, right? And then you have, you're going through all these emotions. I was talking to my therapist about it one time. I was like, I wondered what would have happened if I went somewhere else instead of taking the year off. And he said the same thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm no expert, but my gut tells me.
Because I wasn't actually fixing the problem at that.
Yeah, you weren't healed.
Yeah, no, it was anything but healed.
Yeah.
There wasn't even scabs. It was just straight up, man.
We need a mental health tourniquet
Yeah,
at
right.
that point.
Not sure what that looks like, but but it really taking that year off, financially speaking, terrible decision if you're wondering. But that I'll
It's
take.
just money.
Yeah, right.
It's just money.
It comes back eventually. But this is where I also say, if you have not read Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace book, you should go read that, because that's
So you're
probably
talking
the
about heart.
Yeah, man. If
I don't agree with all his investing things, but his his financial peace universe is
so,
it's
Dang.
golden.
another Dane story. Ready?
Yeah.
So he I was talking to him when I was working in Breckenridge how I wanted to get a new truck, and Dane's like, huh. And he went home for that lunch and walked back in with the Financial Peace book that Dave Ramsey wrote. You know which one?
Oh yeah.
And
Got that. Yeah.
he gave it to me. He said, "Here, read this." Basically kind of bullied me out of the idea of buying a new truck for a little bit.
And by the way, Derek, he's still driving the same truck that I earned at that time. This many years, yeah.
It is getting to the point where I need to start thinking about, okay, I need to at least get.
Yeah, you've done your
Yeah.
You've done your diligence.
And don't get me wrong, I love that truck, but it's not. Anyway, but luckily I was financially responsible enough in that my madness of
Yeah, you could get through that year.
Yeah. And really, I didn't receive clarity. I think it was probably about November. I finally realized, oh, buddy, you were messed up.
Yeah.
It's the best way I could put this.
Yeah.
And realizing all the people, in my opinion, I thought I hurt a lot more people than I did. And I still hurt people, but I kind of turned into something I just knew I wasn't. Because at the end of the day, I know this is hard to say because we won state marching and stuff. I'm not here for the trophies. I'm not here for the ratings. I'm here to grow my students into, if that means they're going to be great musicians, that's great.
And to grow yourself as well.
But really and truly, it's to make better people. And I think probably about that time, I realized at that time, probably about January, Brittany, convinced me to come work with one of her students who is a awesome euphonium player.
I know who you're talking about.
He's awesome, right? Love that kid.
Freshman.
Yeah, man, he's a beast.
Yeah.
But he for some reason, just going through that and then watching them teach and
kind of sparked it a little bit.
Yeah. And I was like, I miss this more than I thought. And I finally realized. So I had to think about it really hard. And I was like, I guess another clarity moment was I need to talk to somebody that understands how far I've come. And the only person I could think of that really went that far, and I'm talking about like beginning, like learning how to play an instrument beginning, was Doyce Bass.
Yeah. Good old Doyce.
And we talked about it. And he was really happy that I was thinking about getting back. And his statement is, am I allowed to cuss? It's not really a cuss word.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for
it. He's like, JJ, this job is too damn hard not to love.
I love that quote. That used to be a bumper sticker.
Yeah, I know.
It's on Rogue.
And what I love though, that I don't know how Doyce does it. Some of his sayings are like they're double-ended. So the job is too damn hard not to love, because I love the gig.
Yeah.
Even the days where I wake up, I'm like, bro, I do not want to do breakfast. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And then, and the job is hard if you don't love it.
Yeah.
So, and I think when he told me that kind of made me realize I think I really need to do this. And I talked to Brittany and Richard about it as well. I talked to Dane. I talked to you a little bit about it as well. I remember applying, and I remember when I finally made a decision, okay, I'm going to at least apply. And I don't know. I'm a man I see weird things that like are patterns and think weird, like the universe. There, everything that happens for a reason, kind of thing. We're stuck in a simulation at this point. I don't know. Which I don't know. They're proving this. We're trying to prove it. I don't know. When I opened it, I was like, okay. When I opened the TMEA website, I was like, I need to find a job that's smaller because I need to figure out how to be a band director, not be what I was in Andrews those past 3
Right.
years, 4 years or whatever. Um, and literally, it's like Crossplanes was like the first thing that popped up, and I realized, yeah, that's pretty small. So, or applied, interviewed. I really liked the interview, and I liked where it was going. Um, Jesus seemed like a really cool guy that I wanted to meet and learn from and stuff like that.
Yeah, what a classic mentor
Yeah.
in life, not
Yeah,
just
no
music,
joke.
but in life.
Yeah, no joke. Um, Now I remember, after Doyle said, I think this is a good choice. You should go for it. And I remember calling Dane. Dane said the same thing. And, it was like, I was stuck in this indecision. So I finally just called the only person that could finally tell me what it was Mike Lenny.
Remember that phone call?
He is like,
Ask Mike.
he
Ask
just,
Mike. Yeah.
so I asked Mike.
Yeah.
So and he said, JJ, if you just want to answer, just take the job, man.
Yeah, that's what just take the job. You can always quit.
Yeah. Which,
You're not getting married, dude.
yeah,
Boss. There's no divorce proceedings on this. Just walk out the door one day.
but and I'm so glad they gave me that opportunity. And,
And it was their game as well. Trust me, your game and their game.
I think we helped each other more than we think. And those kids were, they're just very accepting of me
They're
right off
great
the bat.
kids.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was kind of shocked because, they're, the person I replaced, she's a good band director and doing good things where she's at right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, it's always hard to follow someone that was like that. And, they accepted me very quickly, and, we banter nowadays. It's really fun. And just being a part of that journey.
I loved when the kids kept filling up your office with boxes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's Jesus' thing. And he keeps going like, oh, JJ, is there anything we could use this box for? And I go, the trash. That's why. Are you sure you don't?
They literally filled up his office with empty boxes, and they kept doing it over and over.
Oh my God.
And over, because he made a crack about it. This is a really good box. I need to save this. And the kids latched onto that.
Yeah. Lo and behold,
They were bringing boxes from home.
like they were just being, I don't know. Those kids are wild, man. They're so much fun though. And I won't lie, I miss my Andrews kids a lot.
Yeah.
But I needed to move on.
You're where you need to be.
Yeah. And it just needed to happen that way.
Yeah.
And it was hard. But
And JJ,
I'm
you've been an inspiration, my friend, and I really applaud you for being vulnerable enough to share some of the information you've shared, because I know in my heart it's going to help a lot of people. And you're going to replace me as the Ask JJ one day.
I don't know about that one.
As far as being a mentor to other people. And so we just appreciate your time. And wow, what a story of tragedy and redemption, and now a positive outlook on life. I see the excitement in what you're doing. But Derek, is there anything you want to ask about, or to
Well,
make
listen, I'm
or as we kind of close up this session? I mean, JJ and I, we have a steak to go eat right now.
sure.
Oh, White Old End Cattle Company.
Listen, I'm going to make a statement as opposed to ask a question. You can either say yes or no. We're a product of who we, and you said this earlier. Who I am now is a product of who I've been in all the different places. And you don't get to change what your experiences are or were. I should put it that way. So I don't know that something, and not just JJ, but anybody that's had an event happen, I don't know that it ever leaves.
No, it doesn't.
But at some point we remember that we get this, we're living, we're in this journey. And how do I make peace with the things I didn't like? And how do I embrace the positive things that are coming? And so that's what I appreciate about what you've shared with us. And I thank you. And I can't fathom. I wasn't there. I've never had an experience like that. I can't, I can't empathize with that necessarily, but I can sure appreciate the genuineness and the sincerity that you've approached sharing with us. So I appreciate it, man. I've always enjoyed you, even though we've never been the hangout guys, but man, I have laughed.
Hopefully it was a mostly appropriate joke. Anyway.
Well, that's why JJ and we get along so well. We both have a really dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
Frighteningly dark.
So thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And one more call out. I just wanted to, I don't know if you'll know this or not. You know Conan the Barbarian, correct?
Yeah. Right. I don't know him personally.
Well, yes. Well, if you did, you probably didn't survive. No.
That's true.
So one of the things, for some reason, I gotten into like reading all those tales, but because part of that reason is because Robert E. Howard is the guy that wrote the manuscripts.
He's from Cross Plains.
So one little shout out to them, and this is on that forum as well. The Robert E. Howard Foundation, Operation Pride, really helped us out with that marching show. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, I did not know that. It was a great marching show.
Yeah, and and they're trying right now.
Gold medal, baby.
Yeah. It was really cool to be a part of that journey with those kids, especially those juniors and seniors. I've been trying to finally get there,
Yeah.
And one of the they're trying to right now, the Robert E. Howard Foundation, Operation Pride, are trying to figure out how to save the house right now that Robert E. Howard grew up in. So there's termites are a heck of a thing apparently. So there's a little donation thing in there if you want to donate to that.
So it feels led to jump onto that. That's cool.
Hey, let me ask you this though: would you read the books? Do you read them like Arnold? When he,
I look into books. I honestly, I kind of read them through. I read them and I was like, oh, these are really good. And I was like, I'm kind of want to try something. A lot of those adventure books work better with audiobook type deals.
audiobooks, right?
So those kind, like those adventure fantasy kind, I'll do that because they tried a lot of those companies now do the ambiance and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's kind of nice to wind down for the day.
And they all have a British accent. I don't know why all adventure books.
Yes,
why they're all from England, but I don't know.
I'm not sure either at this point.
I don't know that Conan sounds and stuff with a British accent.
Especially when he's like, he wants ale and meat, He's a very.
I say, I might chop your arm off.
Yeah, right. So anyway, it was nice talking to y'all. Thank y'all for the invite. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, man.
All right. I'll talk to both of you again as quick as I can.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Derek.